Is a political and history scholar and the former minority leader in the House of Representatives. Great to have you this morning.
My pleasure, except that I wasn't the minority leader.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks for that correction.
But I was in the parliament and I chaired the Foreign Affairs Committee while I was there.
Okay, sorry about that. Thanks for the correction. All right, let's get straight into it. The president was quoted this morning as saying that he is deploying military assets to fight insecurity and that he's committed to keeping Nigeria safe. Are you convinced by what he said? And give us your assessment of how he's handled insecurity so far, as well as the economy.
Well, I'm always interested in metrics. You know, we need to have an agreed metrics to be able to measure things. If you go by the textbook definition of democracy and issues of security, clearly this government or Bola Tinubu's government has failed to deliver on what is most important, because in the hierarchy of human needs, human life comes first. And if you look at the statistics of the death and the blood that was shed since he came, if you look at the kidnappings, you look at the ransoms, I know we don't have accurate statistics, but even going by what is available, you can see that there has not been any improvement in terms of security. You sometimes judge an administration by the quality of the people it appoints. Now, if you look at the Ministry of Defense, for example, I mean, the people that he chose to give the Ministry of Defense were people who may be good in themselves in some other fields, but certainly defense is not anywhere near their area of competence. If anything, the Minister of State, Ministry of Defense, who is still in the ministry, has been accused, in being in cohort with the same bandits. Now, these accusations can be proved later, but there are lots of information circulating to the effect that he was part of those who was actually funding bandits. Now, whether this is exactly what they claim to be is a matter to be decided either by investigation or by the body of evidence that is emerging now. But how can you be serious about security when you have taken people who are least qualified to be in that place? It looks like he has done so deliberately because he wants the insecurity to continue so that the North will continue to go down or the country will continue to, I don't know what the benefits are, but certainly in terms of security, the present government has not done anything too different from the government before. If anything, it has deteriorated. Now, whenever I make this statement, I make excuses for people who are in the system, who are doing their best, who are losing their lives, who are giving up, the most valuable asset they have, in this world just to protect us. I salute their courage. We all appreciate their, but there is no point for an administration to be sending poor young people, ill-equipped, ill-motivated, without any without caring to ensure their own safety in a very dangerous space, while the bandits are waxing stronger, challenging government. We have seen clips of bandits basically challenging that this government cannot do anything, and they are dictating their terms, they are taking over. Recently, they have said they were going to clear the forest, they were doing this, they are doing that. I have seen some activities around the Sokoto area, but it's too early to say if this is going to yield to anything. But I think the one last point I have to make on this is that the current government is not only unable to solve this problem, but I think is being reckless and is being irresponsible in this matter of security.
Right. So now,
it's quite timely with you being a former chairman of the Foreign Affairs Committee in the House of Representatives during your time. A couple of weeks ago, the U.S. government declared Nigeria a country of particular concern. I'm sure you have some strong opinion about this, on how we have reacted to this, and also on the nation's, on the federal government's ambassadorial list. I'm also sure that you would have something to say. And just recently, the response to insecurity, the federal government saying it's mobilizing military assets. Is this the right approach, deploying, concentrating heavily on kinetic approach rather than the comprehensive approach that entails the non-kinetic approach, considering the number of out-of-school children we have in the country, which many experts say is a breeding ground for terrorism in the country? What are your views on this?
Benga, this is very loaded. You have three very clear issues there.
Yeah,
we have issues of security.
Because your position
you have issues of diplomacy.
In politics is also
you have
loaded.
issues of the institution of foreign affairs itself. But let me start with the security, because we have just been talking about it. I think the basic thing about security is that this government, and I'm not saying that everybody in government is not serious, but this government is not serious about security. It's 2 years already, you know, in session, and we are not seeing any improvement, in spite of the fact that, but like I said, even from the appointments it has made, political appointments in the defense ministry, it is clear that they have not intended to bring the necessary impact that everybody was expecting them to do. So yes, there are still huge challenges. I hope the fact that America has thrown its weight behind some of the concerns. I'm not saying I agree with what they are saying, and I think Donald Trump is the last person you would expect to help you in any problem. So I think it's the dearth of leadership that has given America even the clout or the audacity or the I mean this idea of, you know, considering countries of particular concern. We are also considering America as a country of particular concern because of the terrible things they've been doing in Gaza, because of the way they have supported Israel against the wish of their own citizens. Look at the demonstration that took place. Look at the works, I mean, what Jeffrey Sachs and other leading, public intellectuals are saying about America. So the summary of all this is that, one, I think the Bola Tinubu administration are not only failing in securing this country, but they are also destroying the very institutions on which this country is relying on to be able to function as a sovereign nation. Two, I think this idea of America considering or describing or taking Nigeria as a country of particular concern, and therefore coming to check if we are doing things correctly, is the worst thing that has happened to us since our independence. Because nobody has the right to determine how we run our state. It's our business and our citizens. Of course, if there are violations of international law, there are mechanisms through the United Nations that should be taken. But America has no business to come here and start dictating to us what to do or what not to do. So it's really sad that we have deteriorated to this level where, of all people, Trump, of all people, I mean, Trump, for many Americans, is a tragedy. And we are trying to cope with our own tragedy here. And I think the last point on this is the point I have consistently made, that our problem, when you reduce it to what it is, it comes to leadership. And we are not able to do anything until we fix the leadership recruitment process. At the moment, our leadership recruitment process is not calibrated to produce the best of us. It is calibrated to produce the worst of us.
All right. The Supreme Court has ruled that the president can take extraordinary measures to prevent the breakdown of law and order. So essentially upholding the state of emergency declaration in Rivers State and for the future as well. Some have said that this will undermine democracy, that it is a blank check. What's your response to that judgment?
Well, the Supreme Court is all part of the institutions that are going down the drain. Unfortunately, the Supreme Court has lost a lot of its integrity. in previous judgments. And many citizens suspected, if you listen to what Chidi Odinkalu has been saying, if you listen to a former Justice of the Supreme Court, Det Tijo, when he was leaving, the kind of remarks he made, if you listen to a number of credible legal experts, discussing the court. So I suspect that it is some kind of connivance to give President powers that he doesn't really have in a proper democracy. So I find that quite disturbing, and I hope lawyers and experts in the field will challenge the legitimacy and the kind of integrity of that particular statement. But let's go back to the issue of the powers that the president, I have said earlier, behaves honestly like a monarch, not like a democrat, because he speaks about the things he wants to do in a way that does not seem to give any room for consultation or for consideration of other citizens. In so many ways, look at the way the tax law was passed. Basically, at one stage he said he wants this thing to be done irrespective of the National Assembly. And the National Assembly were sitting there, basically like some dead institution, and up to now they have not proved to us that they are alive to their responsibilities. And people who have occasion to interact with the National Assembly, these are usually ministers or head of MDAs that go, they find that the National Assembly does not like to discuss any idea of how these institutions are run. All they are interested in is the money. And because of this, we are really in a very serious problem. And I think it is time young people try to wake up from their slumber and salvage their country. This has been done in a number of places. Look at what Kenyans, young people in Kenya have done. Right. They have stood up to the mess that politicians are making of their country, even as they have not quite gotten there. But they have shown that they are present, they are alive, they are alert, and they are ready to really protect their own future. Right. I think young Nigerians have to organize and have to stand up to this.